Hello, my friend, Jamie Kilstein. How are you?
Hi, buddy. That intro was very funny.
Well, it's sad, kind of, isn't it? Because it's all true.
Yeah.
I mean, you've had such an incredible life, and I'm telling you, Jamie, your life is only going to get better. But it's hard at first.
It is. It was easier. Kind of not. It was easier not being Christian. Being Christian's hard, man. It's so hard. I was very happy, just like blissfully torpedoing my life and angrily tweeting at you from Brooklyn back in the day. This is difficult. And then I go to my Christian friends for like help. Like my famous pastor friends, and they'll always be like, yeah, well, look at the apostles. They were in jail and they died. And I was like, cool, that's awful. I don't want that. I want a good. Was there any apostle that like did okay? It's not a good sell.
Yeah, I have the same thing. My pastor friends and everybody comes up to me and they'll say, you know, you've been speaking prophecy on what's coming, and you find those people in the Bible. And I'm like, don't ever say that to me. Those people were all killed.
I know.
They all died.
Yeah. Jesus, the main guy died. Like he came back, but he died. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it would. I guess it should be a little more obvious that Christianity is tough when that's the story and the selling point.
Yeah, I mean,
what's been the biggest struggle?
I mean, it's been all over the place. First of all, the week after I got baptized, I got the worst injury I've ever gotten. I've done jiu-jitsu and MMA for 20 years, trained with UFC fighters. Wasn't that. I was volunteering at church playing duck-duck-goose. And like had to show the oddly good-looking guy volunteers that who was in charge. Right. And so my hips shattered. Yeah. So I was out for a year. And I remember.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Oh yeah, dude. And I don't think I've told this story on a podcast, but I literally the worship band played at the end of the volunteer rally, and I'm standing there and they're playing some Hallelujah song, and there's like tears in my eyes, and people must have been like, our new brother in Christ is like being moved by the Holy Spirit. And I'm just like, my hip is broken. I don't have health insurance. I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I like hobbled out of there. And then before I met
You didn't tell anybody?
No.
You didn't tell anybody there?
No, because I literally felt like, I think I'm a level-headed guy. I think I'm an intelligent guy. But when you become a Christian at 42 and you were never religious, it's like, I feel like I'm going through a lot of the struggles that other kids went through when they were like I'm asking the same questions 13-year-olds are asking when they're raised religious. Like I'm going up to my pastor and I'm like, am I not allowed to go on the internet? And it's because I'm just new. So I literally thought that I'm being punished and I'm not welcome here. Why else would I get injured at church? I thought I did the right thing. I mean, I got married in March, and 2 days later lost all of my money. I wish it was through a housing scam so I could promote your guys' sponsor. But like all gone. And it's like every time I thought that I was doing it God's way, something really bad would happen. And, look, you shouldn't go to Christianity, and I know we're going to talk about this, but you shouldn't go to Christianity for a clique. You shouldn't go to get things. It's not like you become a Christian and you go, all right, Jesus, like work your magic. Everything's going to be good. But I think because I've struggled so much with depression and with not feeling like I fit in or always feeling like a screw up, when this stuff happens sort of post-Christianity, I just go, oh, it's me. Like, not even Jesus can help. And I think that's probably where Christians who struggle with mental health problems, that's probably where it can get worse, right? Like, you can look to Jesus to take your pain, anxiety, fear, ask yourself, why is this happening? How can this better me as a person, etc. But when it goes the other way, it's so dangerous where you go, oh, not even God likes me. You know what I mean?
So I have a friend. I did a podcast with him and his wife. They're an amazing couple. He suffers from depression, debilitating, like nobody I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he just can't do anything. He can't function. And he's gone through all of that. Why me, and God. And he's one of the most devout guys. And somehow or another, he's worked it out in his head. But I just have to tell you, Jamie, my first 4 years, really tough. When you change as much as you have changed, it's tough. Because you're still paying for the past, and you're still breaking all of these habits that were so ingrained in you. Is like, that's fine to do.
Yeah, well,
and it's hard.
And I feel them coming back. I mean, even the sort of like victim mentality stuff I used to do on the left on Twitter, I'm now doing that with like Jesus, right? I'm like, why me, blah, blah, blah. And I hear myself saying it, and I'm like, this isn't me, but that becomes an addiction. It becomes an addiction. I mean, depression can be an addiction where you're just used to people going, how are you? Bad. Here's who screwed me over. Here's why I'm in trouble. And then you get this little like dopamine rush because that's just the path you are used to. And, so people will say, well, give Jesus your fears or your anxiety and he can handle it. And you go, he's busy. You start to have imposter syndrome with Jesus, where you just go, he doesn't want to hear this. Like, my friends don't want to hear this anymore. Jesus doesn't need, look what's happening in the Middle East. He doesn't need me being like, and I could use a paycheck,
I have to tell you, Jamie, one of the big things I had with Roger Ailes when I was at Fox was, he said, you got to stop telling people to pray. Yeah. And I said, okay, stop talking about God, stop telling people to pray.
Whoa.
And he said, God is busy on wars and things. He doesn't need to hear everybody else's problems.
Wow.
And I'm like, I think that's not exactly the message of Christ. So I'm going to disregard that. But
yeah, man. I mean, how did you feel when you, not to act like you're on my podcast, but the times when things have gone wrong for me in the past, a lot of that could be traced to mistakes that I was making, right? And not that I don't make mistakes every day, but when you started to course correct and when you went on this path and then you were getting hit with stuff, whether it was from your past or whatever, that I find is the hardest. Because when you're screwing up and bad things happen, you go, yeah, this tracks. This is my fault. But when you are like, man, I'm really crushing it. I'm volunteering. I'm the best husband I've been. I'm the best, all these things. Even the content I'm making, it's still comedy. It's still filthy, but it's trying to help people or it's about Jesus or whatever. And I go, I'm doing it and I'm being rewarded. And then when you get the rug pulled out of you, that's what's triggered my spirals recently.
So I have to tell you, this will come in time. You begin to trust in him so much that you begin to focus on, wow, that wasn't helpful. I mean, Jamie, but right before we met, I was almost bankrupt. I had lost almost everything because I had put all of my money into this and it didn't look like it was going to work.
Right.
And I knew that the Lord told me to go out on our own, start this network, et cetera, et cetera. And what I realized was two things. One, if it was an error in it, it was my judgment error on being, doing it the right way, doing it his way. The second thing is my wife said to me, he never promised that this would go well or be easy,
That's good.
But it will always lead us directly to where he wants us to be. So even if you lose everything, you gain over a period of time. And I know it sounds ridiculous now, but honestly, at our worst times, we know that everything will work out. I had one of my kids, hang on just a second. Breaking news.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, guys. We have a verdict in the Hunter Biden case. Just came out, convicted on all counts, faces 25 years in prison. All counts convicted, 25 years in prison. Just came out just seconds ago. So an interesting world we live in that you guys are in the middle of analyzing.
There is a God.
I was going to say,
There is a God. Jamie.
Hunter's coming to Jesus. It is happening.
Yep, he might find him now.
Wow.
Anyway, so Jamie, I wanted to talk to you. Let me take a quick break, and I wanted to talk to you about people. We just had Alex Jones on yesterday, and he said, I'm a changed man. Russell Brand, I'm a changed man. Me, I'm a changed man. You, I'm a changed man. I've never expected people to believe me right away because I had lied for so long with my alcoholism.
Sure.
I knew it was going to be a long time, but it does get frustrating when you're like, no, I'm not that guy anymore.
I know.
Do you have any thoughts on like Russell Brand's conversion and what you look for in a person? Because I'm told all the time I'm too easy on people that say they've changed, and I don't think so. So, Jamie, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So, thank you for plugging the new shows, by the way. I think the word grifter can be really, really insidious. I think it can be used against people who have legitimately changed their minds on an issue, oftentimes for the best, right? So there are people laughing at Russell Brand. Oh, he's a drug addict, then this. It's like, yeah, isn't that good? What kind of monster are you that you would rather a celebrity kill himself with drugs than do something that is making him a good person, whether you have clearly you're projecting your church hurt, and I'm sorry that happened. But like we should be rooting for people to become better people. We should be rooting for people to become more nuanced. Now, the problem is, I remember when I was an atheist, if, sometimes you'd see some politician or something and then cheat on their wife and do all these like scummy things, and then a week after the scandal suddenly they already have a book called like My Affair with Christ or something, and you go, okay, this is like clearly written by like a PR person or something, right? And but I think that for the most part, I know for me, I deal with imposter syndrome really, really badly. And when I started coming on shows like this, people were like, oh, he's doing the right-wing grift. And I was like, fellas, if I knew how to grift, I would have more money than I do. Like, I wish I did. But I remember when I found Jesus, I was like, oh my God, for the first time, I don't care what people say because it is something inside me. I know that it is making me a better person. I don't need to defend Jesus. He's got it. So I think that, when someone truly does find God, it doesn't need to turn into this sort of gossipy thing on the internet. What I will say to Christians, though, listening to this show, is that we should be rooting. Like, if Jesus came back to look for apostles today, he's not taking, no offense, like Joel Osteen or the Pope or people who are already sort of established religious people. When you look at
he didn't do it last time.
No, he took tax collectors and he helped sex workers and all these people who were completely ostracized by the community.
Imagine Paul killing all of the Christians. Oh, he's killing the Christians, and now what? He's a Christian?
Yeah.
I mean, that was a hard leap.
There's not even an equivalent, by the way, as a new Christian, having Paul in your back pocket is the best. Anytime I feel like I screw up, I'm like, didn't kill Christians. So, but like you look at, some people could look at, Kat Von D, me, Russell Brand in the same year. I didn't even know the Alex Jones thing, and go, oh, it's happening. The apocalypse is happening. But also, I would so much rather go, oh, that's so good. There's a reason. One of the things that's really great about, so Alex is my wife, and we did our first episode of Trauma Bonding this week, and we talk a lot about these faith struggles I've been having. And one of the cool things about being independent, so that was inspiring hearing your story, is we're doing the show independent, and what's cool about it is I don't have to speak as a Christian influencer. I can legitimately, I still curse. I still talk about my mistakes in the past. I still ask questions. I still go, I don't get that part of the Bible, or I don't know about this thing. And while a lot of Christians might look at that and think I'm doing a disservice, if our job is to make disciples and love our neighbors, then me being able to reach out to, Russell Brand being able to reach out to spiritual people, liberal people, gay people, all these people that aren't going to be walking into a megachurch or maybe have been ostracized or pushed away by the church. And we can bring that person to Jesus in a way that your best pastor, who can quote theology like that, could. That is a good thing. And then let God handle it. I'm not saying I'm going to bring a bunch of people to Jesus as a comedian.
Right.
But I can open the door to people who would never trust religious institutions, and then God will deal with the other stuff.
I'll tell you, Jamie, I think you and your wife now, Alex, who's shockingly not a man, would have seen that easily.
All those conservatives were wrong. Vegetarian doesn't mean whatever.
Yeah, you guys have a very bright future ahead of you, and I agree. There are so many people searching, and there is nothing more powerful than watching somebody discover truth. And even when you're not there, you're like, oh, no, wait a minute, I haven't thought of it that way. There is nothing more powerful. The most powerful teacher who thinks they have it all, not as powerful as the guy who's honestly searching every day for truth to take you on that journey.